frame. We'll plan to address those at the end. Second, we have muted all participants. Today's presenter is Relational Solutions co-founder, Janet Dorncott. Janet has over 20 years of experience in business intelligence and CPG. She founded Relational Solutions in 1996 and deals with the complex issues associated with integrating point-of-sale and syndicated data with internal data, trade plans, shipments, and cost of goods sold. The company was recently acquired by Mindtree, and we are now Mindtree's Center of Excellence for Analytics. With that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Janet to kick off the presentation.
Okay, great. Karen, thanks a lot. Can you guys put a background on the acquisition of Relational Solutions by Mindtree? We're also going to talk about the state of trade for CPG companies today. We'll give you an overview of the TradeSmart and Promo Pro application suite, and also get into a product demo. So this is a half-hour presentation. It's going to be a very high-level overview, but we're happy to go into more detail on later calls. So the Mindtree and Relational Solutions acquisition. Our company was started 20 years ago, and myself and Rob York started it. We focused on data warehousing and business intelligence. And we used to do this across all industries and started focusing on the consumer goods space in about the year 2000, after we had been through several data warehouse implementations where large CPG manufacturers needed to integrate clean, valid point-of-sale data and harmonize it with their internal data. So in doing that, we discovered that there were a lot of anomalies that occurred with point-of-sale data issues that CPG manufacturers had that other industries didn't face. So we developed processes to manage that point-of-sale data. Some of our customers still integrate that point-of-sale data with their data warehouse, which is what we help them do. Other companies use our application foundation as a standalone suite, where they then enrich that data and use that for business intelligence. In the beginning, our focus was on the data warehousing and business intelligence space, so a lot of our partnerships were focused in the technology area, and you see some of them listed here. We were partners also with companies like, in addition to IBM and Teradata and Oracle, with Microsoft and various companies related to business intelligence like Business Objects and Cognos. Some of those companies have since merged. Over the years, again, we focused on that point-of-sale space, but we were recognized as industry leaders by Consumer Goods Technology, and we've been recognized as such for the past 10 years or more, winning awards on a regular basis. We've also been recognized by companies like Gartner and BI Network. We also acquired our business intelligence solution, or I should say our data integration engine at that time, where we developed all of those cleansing and integration processes to tackle the issues related to consumer goods companies with point-of-sale data. And today we have a complete end-to-end solution. We are partners still with most technology companies and most database vendors, as well as BI tools, but we have a very strong relationship with IBM, SAP, and again, we were recently acquired by Mindtree. That partnership also, I actually have Teradata over there as well, because we do strongly partner with them, and those companies use our technology behind the scenes in many of their demand signal repository implementations that they have. So Mindtree at a glance, Mindtree has over $700 million in revenue that they're doing. Last year they were doing about $500 million. This is a very fast-growing company. They have grown about 25% year over year and has seen that kind of growth over the past 14 years since they've been in business. They have 4 main industry segments, and as you can see, retail and CPG is their largest segment, with over 26% of their revenues coming from this space. They were named India's best company to work for, and they have a market cap of almost $2 billion. Together with Mindtree, we have global coverage, and we've got offices throughout the world. In North America, you'll see we've got Cleveland listed there. That is where Relational Solutions is headquartered. We are their center of excellence, as Karen mentioned, for analytics. We also have acquired another company recently called Market 360 that specializes in customer relationship management, or CRM, and they do a lot of work with applications like Salesforce and Siebel. Their locations are in the lower section of that North American box here, Minneapolis, Chicago, LA, and New York. But as you can see, we've got a broad coverage throughout the world, and Mindtree actually has 2 headquarters, one in Bangalore, which is their main headquarters, and one in North America in Warren, New Jersey. The reason for the acquisition was that it really solidified both ours and Mindtree's data analytics continuum. And we've been working with consumer goods companies, and again, we used to do this across all industries. Mindtree just has those 4 industries that they focus on, so we're really able to enrich the information and enrich our solutions for the consumer goods industry. Where we started off initially with doing data warehousing and data management, that's something that is still part of every solution that we offer. So we're always doing that, that process of integrating and managing the data, providing then business intelligence for our consumer goods companies and greater insights. Together with Mindtree, we're also able to not only provide these predictive analytics, but we're also developing prescriptive analytics. And the difference between those is basically that we're not just predicting what's going to happen, we're predicting and providing recommendations to what consumer goods companies should do as a result of those new insights. So it really fulfills the entire continuum of offerings that we have. So let's talk about trade today. Trade for the consumer goods industry. There was a recent survey done by POI Institute, that's Promotion Optimization Institute, and that is an institute that regularly surveys and provides information for our customers in the consumer goods space. This was a survey, I believe they said they had over 700 CPG companies respond to this survey. Basically, the results are that 96% of CPG companies have trouble analyzing trade. As you can see from the respondents, companies that are having issues with trade are not alone. We see this everywhere we go. And part of the reason for that is the complexity associated with analyzing that trade and using accurate information, and we'll talk about that shortly. They also said that 76% of CPG companies believe they have ongoing data quality issues with point-of-sale and syndicated data. So because of these data quality issues, it does make it more difficult to actually understand how your promotions are performing. In addition to that, because syndicated data is usually delivered on a monthly basis, most companies have a very hard time analyzing their trade when that data is 30 days late. Now, only 10% of CPG companies actually feel they have an automated and easy way to analyze their trade. So again, that kind of goes along with some of the other statistics that we saw. But it's a very common issue in today's CPG world. Most of the CPG companies that we work with spend about anywhere from 15 to 25% of their overall revenues are spent on trade. So to have this kind of discrepancy and issue with analyzing trade really costs companies a lot of money. We have extensive experience in the consumer goods space, and with Mindtree, we can share case studies on various companies related to not only digital marketing, but trade promotion management, data integration, business intelligence, predictive analytics, channel collaboration, distribution management, and so forth. We have a couple of case studies that I pulled up related to trade, but just know that as a follow-up, if you're interested in some more information on any of these areas, these are all areas that together with Mindtree we work with customers on. Relational Solutions has always focused on the actual trade and POS space, so mainly in these areas over here, these 4 spaces here. But a great example of one of our customers who implemented our TradeSmart application, first we did build their demand signal repository. And what I mean by that is we integrated and cleansed their point-of-sale data. In this case, we also integrated it with their shipment data. But once that data was clean and valid and integrated, we now had a foundation with which we could optimize trade. And the way that we did that was we leveraged that point-of-sale and syndicated data that we already had clean and harmonized and validated, and we took the additional trade components and cost of goods sold necessary to analyze trade. And we'll get into some more of that shortly. But basically, this customer felt that if they could justify saving 1%, because they were spending about, I believe it was about 17 or 18% of revenues were being spent on trade, and they felt that if they could even save on just 1% of that, that would justify the cost of the solution, not only in the first year, but long term. But they felt it would justify it in the first year. What actually ended up happening, although they anticipated a 1% trade improvement, they actually got closer to a 5 to 6% trade improvement. So they were able to reduce their overall revenue spend on trade by 5 to 6%, which was far in excess than what they were expecting to do, and obviously pays for the cost of the solution very quickly. In another case, we are currently managing and continue to manage over $1.5 billion in their trade promotion spend across 35 countries. We're also enabling collaboration of over 18,000 distributors in over 22 countries for this particular customer. This is one of the top 10 CPG customers. It is one of the largest CPG customers in the world. In addition, we were able to reduce their order-to-cash cycle by 60%, saving them over $15 million on store and audits over a 3-year period. So let's talk about now how we did that and our actual TradeSmart and Promo Pro application. So we'll get into the actual product demo, but just to give you a quick overview and explain what TradeSmart is. TradeSmart is a foundation for post-promotion automation and analytics. It does the automation and analytics both in-flight as well as post-event automation and analytics. And part of the reason for that is we're not just using syndicated data from Nielsen or IRI. We're also using point-of-sale data directly from the retailers or the retailer's portal when we can get that. In some cases, we're buying just the raw data feeds from those third-party data providers so that we can get that data on a faster basis. But that allows us to see point-of-sale data on a daily basis. And when promotions are run sometimes just for a 3-day period or a week time frame, that in-flight access to information is very necessary to have. TradeSmart leverages that clean, harmonized point-of-sale data that we have within our POSmart architecture. And I'll touch on that just briefly, but this is not a POSmart demo, so I don't want to go into too much detail on that. But basically, it does have the underlying architecture with that clean, integrated data. We also integrate those necessary components, including plan, shipments, consumption, and cost of goods sold as it relates to trade. It gives you the ability to accurately analyze the outcome of trade promotions and compare those to the planning expectations across all retail segments. It provides insights into promoted volume, helps to reduce that if necessary. A lot of CPG companies have way too much of their shipments going out are promoted volumes. We've seen it as high as 75 and 80%. It gives you the ability to understand whether or not promotions were properly executed and the amount of retail compliance. It gives us a repository of historical information so that we can actually do year-over-year analysis. In most cases, we like to get at least 2 years' worth of point-of-sale history, and where that trade information is available, bring that in as well so we can start doing year-over-year analysis right away. And it gives us also the ability to feed other systems. So once that data is clean and valid, we can feed that clean information back into your other systems, like your plan, your supply chain, merchandising, and so forth. Some of the other things it allows us to do is it provides a rules-based system. And that means that we've got the business rules defined, and therefore we can streamline that ROI information and provide ROI calculations in a consistent fashion. It's process-driven, so it gives us visibility into non-compliant events as well, and it gives us insights into the planned spending to retail execution by event or product, and that's visible, up the hierarchy. So it uses cost information to help you understand your true margins, profits, and contributions, and it provides, again, visibility across history. So you can also know your sell-through and get supply chain visibility by incorporating the shipment data. Here are some of the calculations that it helps you identify. It measures effectiveness and efficiency of the trade promotion events and gives you ROI. It looks at incremental weeks, the percent lift, the promotion efficiency, the percent sell-through, and lets you look at promoted event tactics and purchase frequency analysis as well. What you're going to look at today is going to be some reports that shows you how the automated process actually produces results and gives you immediate insight. In this example, and I'll show you in the demo, we're looking at the ROI for both the retailer as well as the CPG manufacturers. And this is a common report used for joint business planning sessions with retailers. We also provide dashboards so that you can see things like margin assessment. In this case, we're looking at margin assessment, promotional performance versus share, base to incremental, so that we can look at your not only the base but the unit price, and we're looking at what you would normally sell, the incremental, and the price as well, all in a single chart on our dashboard. In this case, we're looking at a feature type assessment. We're also looking at ROI analysis, and we're looking at ship to scan versus the actual plan in this chart. And we can, again, in a full demo, go through all of these charts with you, but this is designed to give you kind of an overview. TradeSmart also gives you insights into cannibalization reports and more. So in this case, we're looking at whether or not we're cannibalizing one of our own products. We can also look at cannibalization that may be caused by competitive data if that's integrated into the solution. So you have to be buying that competitive data from a Nielsen or an IRI, but it gives us that insight as well. So why aren't companies doing this today? And why are those statistics I showed earlier so poor for analyzing trade? It's because of this POS dilemma. Everybody's got point-of-sale data coming in from all sorts of different sources. You've got Nielsen coming in late, usually on a monthly basis. You've got some data coming in on a daily basis. The Walmart data from Retail Link. You might be getting Kroger data from a Market Fix or dunnhumby. You might also be getting EDI data feeds from, say, a CVS or a Retail Solutions. All of this data produces different reports. And so those reports exist, but an analyst actually spends about 90% of their time just gathering and cleaning and integrating and justifying those numbers. So when data needs to be used to actually analyze trade, if there's no automated way that this is currently happening, there's no way you're going to be able to accurately measure trade promotions because you're not using POS data. Most customers that we see are using maybe they're getting about 10% coverage and then assuming that that's the case in the other 90%. Well, there's a lot of waste involved in something like that. So without using that actual data, there's a lot of assumptions and hunches being made. So what makes the point of sale so difficult to work with, and why aren't people automating it? Well, it's because it's a very, very difficult process to automate the integration of those different sources. And on top of that, even if an analyst creates macros to automate the integration of certain things, it breaks over time. And the reason they break is because if a retailer starts sending you new data feeds or new data elements within their feed, or they change the format of their feed, or maybe an end user asks you for a new piece of information, they want to look at data a little bit differently, maybe you decide to merge with another company, or your CEO decides they want to focus on a different category. All of these things affect the way that point-of-sale data can be integrated. And that's why most companies, unless they've got our POSmart application, are not automating that POS integration process easily. In fact, in most cases, they're not doing it at all. They're cobbling together data on a nightly basis or a daily basis, and oftentimes it takes them days or weeks to create these reports. So what we're doing is we've got our underlying foundation, and that underlying foundation is our Smart Suite. And then TradeSmart leverages that underlying foundation. In our POSmart application, which is part of our Smart Suite, we're already automating the integration of your syndicated data with point-of-sale data and your master data. Once that data is integrated, and we call that POSmart, once that data is integrated and it's from these main sources right here, consumption, which can be Nielsen, IRI, or POS, along with your master data, then we can piggyback off of that architecture. And that's where we start adding the necessary components to analyze trade. So we integrate your plan, data, your cost of goods sold, your shipments, your baseline, and potentially other data like maybe your forecast. But Trade then brings together, our TradeSmart application then brings together the POS data along with these other necessary data sources. On the user interface side, you're going to see our Blue Sky Analytics and Promo Pro. And those are what gives you the insights to new information. And I'm going to jump into that right now. So in Blue Sky Analytics, here we're looking at our trade event detail. And you'll notice that we're looking at various markets. You can collapse that and see I'm just looking at Food Lion. If I want to look at all of those, here are different retailers I can look at. I can look at the ROI for my customer as well as for our internal purposes. And I can chart things down below, of course. Anything I highlight is dynamically charted below if I have my chart unlocked, but I would have to go in and unlock that. I'm going to continue with the information that's in this report, because if I go up here and show you all my headers, I can see that I'm looking at various information here. Across the top, I'm looking at the customer margin, as well as the customer profit, unit price, shipments, base volume units, incremental base units, forecast, trade spend, actual total share of dollars, and actual promoted incremental. This is our Blue Sky Analytics. This is what's giving you the insights into data. We're also, in this case, we're looking at information like our ship to consumption information, and we're looking at that by brand. But in the trade information, we can look at this by various retailers. I can drag and drop information. I can look at this by promoted product group. I can grab market and take that out of the equation entirely. I can rearrange these any way I want to look at new information. I can also look at this by date. I can trend things. I can sort, do whatever I want there. In our Promo Pro application, we're actually looking at the promotions themselves. I opened up this Family Dollar one, and in this case, I'm looking at different tactics that are being run, and I can group those tactics into a single event. And that's what I'm doing in this section here. Across the top, I can see the promotion performance. And I can look at this across time. And in this case, I'm looking at it by competitor. I'm going to zoom in on this. And I can look at competitors. I can look at the shipment information. I can turn the competitors off. I can also select certain competitors if I wanted to just pick. By default, it selects your top 5 competitors, but I can change that to whatever I want it to be. In addition, down below, I can see the chart. I can see a Gantt chart of when different promotions are running. I can also go into my event summary, and here's where I can go in and I can correct things. If my product was supposed to ship on a certain day and it actually shipped late, I can go in and I can change that. If it was supposed to ship on the 25th and it didn't ship on the 26th, I'll want that new and updated information reflected accurately. I can even have that update go back to the Trade Promotion Management System and correct that. So within my event summary, I can see my chart, I can look at my shipments, I can look at my consumption. If I go back to the chart, I can see that anything in white I can go ahead and edit, and these can be customized based on what you want different individuals to edit. I'm looking at my high-low information, my key promotion dates, and so forth, and all other information in here. In addition, I can look at my alignment detail. So in my alignment detail, again, I can change my shipment dates, the performance dates. It's showing me my weekly base, my override weekly base, EDLP weekly base. I can choose an event tag. So if I've got multiple events, in this case I'm only showing a back to school, but I can have multiple event tags. I also have built in here the ability to change price if I want to be able to do that. And if I scroll down, you can see more detail on that. I can add comments. I can upload images. So I can select an image of that particular ad to look at. And if I go back to my start page, my home page, I can see that I've got multiple events running. So if I group tactics into a single event, I can submit those in a workflow to my management and see where in the approval process it is. So if I'm just in the process, if I'm an analyst and I'm in the process of reviewing it, it's showing up here. If it's been approved by my management, it's here. If I'm actually putting that together, it's in progress. I can also look at my recently approved or rejected, my process updates. And again, the insights themselves are coming from my Blue Sky Analytics. I also have dashboards where I can open up those, that information where I was looking at KPIs, and those are all over on the right-hand side here. So that kind of is a very quick overview of the solution. I'm going to jump back to the slides over here real quick and just explain that this entire Smart Suite, again, is part of our, or the TradeSmart application is part of our entire Smart Suite solution. And if I scroll down here a bit, I'll go ahead and post just list some of the ways that we can connect with you. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it back to Karen for wrap up and any questions that we might have. Karen? Karen, you might be on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thanks everyone. And we did have a few questions here that I wanted to take a quick minute here and address. Our first question came in that said, if we already have a TPM solution, can TradeSmart take planned feeds from that system, and then after we correct inaccurate ship dates, can TradeSmart feed the corrected information back to our TPM?
Yes, and that's all part of this integration engine that we have going on behind the scenes. So that TPM solution, often we run into SAP's TPM or Demantra. Those are very common. POSmart is another one we see it. But any TPM solution, we can extract that plan data. We also can extract data, so for example, from a Siebel or a Prescient, that's not uncommon. Once that information, and oftentimes that data is coming from multiple sources. So you might have your TPM solution that's providing some of the information, and maybe just another application where you've got your shipment data, for example. We can feed that corrected information back to the TPM or another application as well. And yeah, so whether that's, and again, it does not matter which trade promotion management application you have.
Okay, thanks. Our next question, they want to know if our current TPO solution uses raw POS data without going through the cleansing and harmonization process. As a result, we do not use the system because we can't rely on the data. Would POSmart be able to feed clean POS into an existing TPO?
Okay, yeah, so I think what they're saying is that they already have a trade promotion management and a trade promotion optimization solution, but the TPO solution isn't working so well because it's just taking point of sale data direct. That's very common, and that's also very unreliable. It's one of the reasons why you don't see many companies rolling out TPO solutions. The few that have rolled them out, oftentimes they're very unsuccessful and they're very expensive, so it tends to be a very risky thing to do if you don't already have your point of sale data clean, valid, and integrated. So yes, I would highly recommend that if you already have a TPO solution or if you are currently looking at a TPO solution, we need to get that POSmart underlying architecture in place first, because that provides you with the bulk of what you're going to be looking for anyway in a TPO solution. But if you already have one, it's going to take it to that next level, yes.
Okay, the next question is, will this work with a homegrown TPM solution?
Oh, definitely, yeah. And a lot of times we go into places and their homegrown TPM solution is a bunch of spreadsheets. So that's not uncommon either, and that's partly because trade promotion management solutions are also very pricey. So a lot of times people have built something on their own. We can take the plan data, right from whatever it is you've built, even if it's just spreadsheets.
And related to that, the last question is they want to know, do some companies just use TradeSmart versus a TPO solution?
Yes, and we're seeing that more and more, especially because the TPO solutions are so expensive, and because they've been failing. A lot of people are starting to recognize that they're missing this piece. And this piece, we refer to it as trade promotion intelligence, but it does provide about 80% of what traditional trade promotion optimization solutions provide. And in addition to that, with our acquisition by Mindtree, Mindtree does have their own predictive model. We can put that right on top of our TradeSmart application, and you can do it in a very phased approach. So that first you get that intelligence, then we're adding on the trade promotion optimization, which in our opinion should include predictive and prescriptive analytics for you.
Okay, thanks, Janet. That was a great overview, and I wanted to thank everybody for participating today. If you are interested in a full demo, please feel free to contact myself, and I'll be happy to schedule that follow-up or one-on-one session for you and your team. We do want to thank you for your time today and invite you to follow our Relational Solutions training blog by going to our website at relationalsolutions.com and clicking on our resources page. We do regularly post updates and industry information on LinkedIn under the Demand Signal Repository Institute. And today's training video will be posted on our Relational Solutions YouTube channel. Do stay connected with us by following us on Twitter and Facebook, and you're always welcome to call or email myself or Janet with any comments, questions, or feedback that you might have. We do look forward to hearing from you, and we thank you again for your time and interest in TradeSmart and PromoPro. Take care, everyone, and have a great day.